Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Well Dressed Brand TV show. I'm your host, Toy Sweeney. Today, we are in part two of our series called The Power of Recreating Yourself. And so last week we kicked off, it was very informative, talking about what is a style identity, what are the different layers of a style identity or the different parts of it, right? We talked about that if you have my book, Secrets of a Well Dressed Brand, that inside of the book on page 162 there is a style test, and in that style test you end up with the top 2 or 3 scores that gives you your style identity. And we talked about it could be powerful, ladylike, elegant, timeless, it could be full of innovation, all of those different things. And so each month over the next several months we're talking about a different portion of the style identity. And so this month we are talking about powerful, is what it would say on the test, but just power. We talked about what that means, right? The dramatic sleeves, the asymmetrical hemlines, different fabrications, bold, bright colors. And we talked about the color red holding the weight of power. So today, as we dive into recreating yourself, the power of recreating yourself. And so recreating yourself is, I think, always been a very powerful tool. I've always admired over the years different songwriters, or not songwriters, but different like artists and their staying power, because I think it's hard in any industry to just kind of have longevity, especially today in this busy, crowded, loud world where everything is pushing brands and pushing an agenda. But thank God we're getting back to authenticity and wanting to build genuine connections and you showing up as your genuine self. And so your style identity is a part of that. And so I am excited to get into this. So we're going to go into um, the 48 laws of power. So, if any of you have teenagers or theater kids like me, who this was, or back in the day, Mean Girls, right? This was the book this book has been around for a long time. And so back in the day, and even in the movie Mean Girls, they're talking about this book. This is what Regina George used, and even in the new one. But anyway, we're gonna look at Law 25, and if you have the book, it's on page 191, and it talks about recreating yourself. And so I want to read a little bit of I want to read I want to show it to you so you can. I don't know if you can. Oh, you can't. Okay, you can see it on Instagram, but you can't see it because of my lights on all the other channels. But anyway, so in the book, Robert Greene says, "Do not." You ready? Do not accept the roles that society foists on you. Recreate yourself by forging a new identity, one that commands attention and never bores the audience. Be the master of your own image rather than letting others define it for you. Incorporate going back to the style identity power, incorporate dramatic devices in your public gestures and actions. Your power will be enhanced and your character will seem larger than life. That reminds me of celebrities and their relationship with their stylists. And I love that. It's just this whole idea of reinvention. Also reminds me of the core elements of the secrets of a well-dressed brand, right? Because at the end of the day, it's coming right back down to your personality, your core values, your mission, your vision, and your image. So I wanted to spend a little time unpacking this today. And so as we think about those words from the 48 laws of power, we're on law 25, as we think about that, and he says, do not accept the roles that society foists upon you. Recreate yourself by forging a new identity. And so last week when we looked at, okay, Toy, what's the purpose of a style identity, right? And so it is, of course, for you to know what your like style recipe is. Like, why do you why are you drawn to certain things, right? Certain silhouettes, certain fabrics. When we did the color series last year, we talked about why you were drawn to certain colors and dived into their meaning. The other things that we talked about was it really is to maximize the impact of your nonverbal communication. Your image should reflect the likeness of your personal brand. It should include, your all of your personal branding, and your marketing collaterals for your business or your career, of course, right? Your logo, social media profiles, all of those things, but we're talking mainly about your image. And so it impacts that too. And so, that's what that is about. And so I loved that because when we look at that, forging a new identity, it commands attention and never bores your audience. We really are talking about personal brand. We really are talking about the impact that style has on the way that you show up. And I'm not talking about fashion, because fashion is fleeting, it changes all the time. But when you have a very specific style, it lasts forever. That's the thing that's giving you longevity when you really magnify it in addition to your personal brand. And so I just loved this, and I love what he was saying, and considering how long something like this has been on the market. And if you've read the book, he's talking about various or giving examples from various parts of history. And so, of course, fashion has been around as long as most of us have been alive, but it's kind of cool to see that things have not changed that much. So when we think about the purpose of a personal brand, right, it's for our professional reputation, career, and personal advancement, and it's really about that authentic expression, that genuine expression of who you are. And what I love about that, merging that with style, which is what the well-dressed brand is completely about, giving you the secrets in the book Secrets of a Well-Dressed Brand. What I love about that is that in this time where I feel like we're talking about stories so much, right? Share your story, tell your story, but you as a knowing your style identity and, of course, how this impacts your brand. Do you understand? Can you understand? Are you willing to understand how your style identity, your clothing, how it impacts deepening the understanding and the meaning of your narrative? And so if your story or your personal brand is about being, I'm just going to use something that a lot of people use, a change agent, right? But are you showing up as the change agent, right? And you're saying, I help blah, blah, blah do this. And whatever that is, are you showing up as that? And so that's the important part that style plays. Knowing your style identity. Last year we talked about, okay, what colors represents those things. And so when you're putting it all together, I use myself as an example, not because I'm puffed up or want to talk about myself, but it's just easier and that I'm not telling any of my clients' stories or business without their permission. And so when you look at the Well Dressed brand, I think it's very obvious what my branding colors are, right? Red, black, and white. And so typically, if you see me out and about, I'm wearing one of those three colors, not all the time, but most of the time. And, when we talked about the color series, because again, we're talking about recreating yourself, forming a new identity. And I didn't always dress that way. One that commands attention and never bores the audience. And then it goes on to say, be the master of your own image rather than letting others define you. And so if you've ever heard me speak or watched any of the other Well Dressed Brand TV shows, you know that I am all about you carving your own path. I am all about you taking up, or as my friend Eliza Van Zant says, her book A Woman's Guide to Claiming Space, right? Sticking your flag in the ground and saying, I am here, I'm putting you on notice, I'm not asking for permission, this is who I am, and I'm okay with that. And so I love that about not only this series, but just even the topic today. I am curious to know, so make sure you tell me about some different ways that over the years you've recreated yourself. Was it cutting your hair? Was it updating your glasses? I know that for myself, those are some ways that I recreate my clients, right? We will make sure that you're relevant, and we'll get to that in a minute. But, making sure that your nail shape is a relevant nail shape. Your eyebrows give it away every time. Make sure that, sometimes that might take growing them out to reshape them, and it's a painful process, but it's worth it. I have done it myself, and I've had clients do it, and I'll say, you look really dated. You have these 1990s eyebrows, which I think are making their way back. But you know all of these things, right? And so, just being authentically you. One of the greatest things that came out of the lockdown, or pandemic, was, the so many women just letting their natural gray come in, and I love that, because you do what is going to work for you. That is a great example, because it's not something that's going to work for everyone. Okay, so we talked about authentic expression. The purpose of your personal brand is that when you look and compare to recreating yourself by the Robert Greene version, he's also talking about influence and impact. So, of course, a powerful personal brand is going to give that individual influence, and inspiring others to really leverage their expertise, but you should be using it as a gateway to leverage your expertise, right? So that's what we're really talking about. And then he goes on to say, incorporate dramatic devices into your public gestures and actions. Your power will be enhanced. So going back to the influence and impact, um, and your character will seem larger than life. And so, as we go and consider again the whole purpose of personal brand, right? In 1997, when Tom Peters coined that phrase, personal brand, it was a battle cry for us to take all of these lessons from these big brands and market ourselves, as a product. And, you are the product, right? And so today, you have to understand that, okay, I'm a brand now, I'm a product, but you have to market yourself like a media company. And so that is, that to me, that larger than life kind of personality. And even if you can, I know some people are like, I'm not even online like that. I'm afraid to really get out there. I think about Rashonda Pratt's, talking about visibility is power. I'm thinking about Tanya Smith, she's a streaming boss. Make sure that you look at these two ladies' platforms, because if that's something that you want to do, but you're really afraid to do, they really do a phenomenal job of helping you through that. And so ultimately, of course, your professional development, your brand is about you genuinely showcasing your identity, your expertise, your values. And it's about resonating and leaving a lasting impression. And so that is something that the style identity does as well. When we look at recreating yourself, let's dive into that for a couple minutes. When you're recreating yourself, there's a psychological perspective. So the first tier of that is going to be self-reflection. You have to know where you are to really understand where you're going, and understanding where that disconnect is, right? And so for some people, I know that it is, what are you focusing on this year? For me, I know I'm focusing on my gut health and my brain health. And then everything else is starting to follow that. So I decided, and I talked about this in my live for the new year, that I'm not so much focused on the scale and this, that, and the third. I kind of want to show myself some grace, and the scale's moving, because I'm really just focusing on my brain health, and I'm focusing on my gut health. So that's, that self-reflection is part of it. Your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, your aspirations, going back to the well-dressed brand, personality, core values, mission, vision, image, right? So basically, define the qualities of your behavior you want to cultivate, change what you wish for your life. You are the one that sets the narrative and sets the tone for that. So you need to set specific, achievable goals, make them clear, so that it really puts you on that right path, right? That is one key way that psychologically you can recreate yourself. Being able to be flexible and embrace change. I hate buzzwords like that, because I recognize and I know that that's something that sounds really easy, but if we're being honest with ourselves, depending on what it is, change is not so easy. Baby steps. It's okay. From a scientific perspective, um, you want to engage in learning. When was the last time you learned something new? What was the last time you read something new? I know there's a ton of you out there now reading my books. We just came back from the Women Empowering Women conferences, and you've been DMing me. And I've been having locally a lot of coffee dates with you, just to talk about various things. And each of you are so kind and so sweet to say, I'm reading your book. I'm on this chapter. Dottie says, Toy, thank you very much. Thank you. It's very helpful. Dottie, you know I love you and you are welcome. Dottie has been a member of the Well Dressed Tribe and my friend for a really long time. And I appreciate you saying that. And so, yeah, so let's talk about that. Challenge your brain. So by acquiring new knowledge, skills, or languages, this stimulates neuroplasticity and encourages new neural paths in your brain. And it's going to help your cognitive and creative thinking. And so, if you've again read The Secrets of the Well Dressed Brand, that's what we're talking about when it comes down to style. I'm not talking about looks or outfits. I give you those tools because I know some of you want that as well. Of course, I'm talking about setting up your brand right closet and what that could look like, giving you some tools for that. But the purpose of all of this is to go beyond an outfit, go beyond a look. It's deeper, right? And so that's what it is. It's really about creating those new neural pathways so that that comes out. And guess what? It becomes a part of your new style identity and it enhances your personal brand. How fabulous is that? The other part of that, of course, is going to be your health and your fitness. And so that's part of it, making sure that you practice mindfulness, these techniques and strategies just to help you improve your mental health. Um, and later, well, I won't go there today. Yes. And so then again, let's dive into the third thing about recreating yourself. What's the third tool that you need? Well, it comes down to your style assessment. Well, guess what? That's what we're talking about. That's what we've been talking about. Is your style assessment. We're talking about your style identity. And that is a massive way that you can recreate yourself in your image, of course, right? Updating your wardrobe, paying attention to and knowing the different cuts and things, hire a stylist or an image consultant. You know, I'm loving for those of you on Instagram, and I meant to say LinkedIn first, but and then also Instagram. You know, I love the stylist Nana Badu. I love Nana's style. It's very innovative. It's very creative. And I love just collaborating with other stylists and image consultants. I'm both, and so and I'm looking at everything through the lens of branding, and so I offer a little bit of a different perspective. But whenever I think about this, I'm loving what she's posting on LinkedIn, and so if you are not following Nana Badu, make sure that you are because she's fabulous and she has an exceptional sense of style. Making sure that you stay relevant. I'm not one that's big on trends. You know, I'm the person that you call when you need to show up and shut it down when the stakes are high. I had a client years ago as I was finishing up with one client who had was in Brazil. You guys have seen the show years ago when I was working. TD Jakes was having this massive, show about finding new pastors, right? And I work with Pastor Christy Miranda, and she was in Brazil in ministry and was like, I need to get to TD Jakes studio like stat, like when the stakes are high, that I'm the person that you call, and we just organize and orchestrate moving mountains to make things like that happen. And just as I was finishing up with her, literally pushing the button on send, and she's like on set filming, I get a DM on Instagram that says, I am in this country again. Like, what are the chances? I'm in this country and I need to get back to New York City. I need a hair appointment, nails appointment. I need to look this way. I'm going to be in the room with Bill Gates, Kanye West, Hillary Clinton. Like, that, that's my jam. So I'm who you call when the stakes are high, and you need to show up and shut it all the way down. And so making sure that, again, as we talked about earlier, you're staying very relevant. And so that's what I had for you today. I just thought that what Robert Greene was talking about in the 48 Laws of Power, Law 25, recreate yourself. And I remember listening to this book last year on a walk, and when I got to Law 25, I was like, wow, like this is it. And this is not a person that is in the industry. This is not a person that is trying to sell you something, but he's just talking about, the importance of it. And when he ends this, um, and he says, your personality would seem larger than life. And doesn't that just feel and sound like influence and impact? Right. So that is what we have for today about the power of recreating yourself. And I wanted to make sure that I left you with some tools on how does your personal brand impact recreating yourself? How does your style identity lean into recreating yourself? So let me know in the comments. I hope that this was very, very, very helpful. It was really fun working on this today. So that's what I have for you guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'm excited about this series. I hope that you are as well. All right, I'm going to end the live here and all other channels. On Instagram, you'll be on for a little bit longer. So make sure that you are commenting and sharing this with anybody. Oh, make sure if you are really want to get the full experience for this series that we're doing, the Style Identity series, that you head on over to toyswinnie.com, sign up for the newsletter or blog, just get on the email list, and so you'll get instant access to the blog that was created specifically for this. Can I give links to what I referred to? Are you talking about the book, Dottie? Hold on a second. Yes, I see what you're saying. Yes, I usually post the links after when I end the live on Instagram. Then I'll go in and then I'll put all of those things there. So yes, I have that for you. LinkedIn and everywhere else, they already have it, because that's a pre-production and Instagram's post-production. So make sure that you head on over to toyswinnie.com and sign up for the newsletter if you have not, because I do, again, want you guys to get the full experience, okay? And that's how you get it. So the email is going to download and explain to you all about the series. What does the style identity of powerful look like, and explaining it, and then giving you the other ones. And then make sure that if you have my book already on page 162, that's where the style test is. Now, I know some of you are still reading the book. It's okay. You can skip ahead. Go ahead and thank you. I appreciate that. And so, make sure that you turn to page 162, take the style test. It's okay if you're not there yet. Just take the style test so that as we're going through the series, you understand what your style identity is, because I don't go into it as deeply in the book as I'm going through it in the series. And right now I'm giving you different aspects of what the identity means, and I'm giving it to you from a lifestyle perspective, so that you are getting the style perspective, you're getting the psychological and the scientific benefits, and then we're talking about how you live these principles out. Something very fresh and new. I think it's kind of cool. So anyway, and if you haven't picked up Secrets of a Well-Dressed Brand, head on over to Amazon and make sure that you have it. Thank you. I love that you love the book. Thank you. And Angela says, you're amazing and beautiful as always. Thank you so much. All right, you guys, have a great rest of your day. I'm going to end it here.